Okay, so today we are continuing to look at story elements. To start story elements or to understand them, we have to understand sequencing first. So, what is it and how do we figure out sequencing? What does sequencing mean? Sequencing is putting the events in a story in order. We have talked about this with how to things. We talked about sequencing when we were baking things. Um, just making sure those things go in order because if they don't go in order, it will mess up with our story. So there are certain words in a story or in writing that takes place to help to give us clues um, how they're going to be. So first, then afterwards, next, the next day, as soon as, later, lastly, and the in the end. um, so these are all clue words to tell you that something is happening and these things are important, that it's giving you events in an order. And next slide. So, why is sequencing important? It helps us understand what's going on with the plot. Now, today, that's specifically what we are looking at is plot. Um, I have said this word before, and we talk about it in different ways, but today we're going to look at it in a little bit more detail with what certain things are considered under the plot category. All right. So, plot is um, putting in order important events that leads to the resolution of a problem. When I say resolution, that basically just means the story's solution or how the outcome of the story happened, how that problem was solved. So, in a plot structure, there are five things that we label or notice. One is the exposition. This has to do with the characters and the setting. I know exhibition sounds like um, a big word, but in a fancy way, it's just saying the beginning of the story. It's introducing to you the character and the setting. Then we have what's called the rising action. This is where the conflict or the problem um, begins to occur. It's going up a little bit in its order, and things are starting to be noticed and becoming a problem. Then we have three, the climax or the conflict is at its peak. Um, there seems right now to be no solution, and that problem is at its all-time high. The characters are typically probably starting to feel discouraged or feeling like they can't solve the problem. Then, as we go down, we go into the next one, falling action. This is when the solution starts to be noticed. The characters are starting to think a little bit harder, or they're starting to notice how they can solve that conflict or problem. Then we have resolution, which is how the story ends or um, the outcome of the story and the problem. So today, on your next slide, and also what we like to think of plot is like a mountain or a roller coaster. Today, I talked about it as a mountain, but you can also think about it as a roller coaster. It starts off low at that bottom, where uh, our exposition starts. Then it goes up and up and up all the way, getting close to that top peak. That's our rising action where all those events and where that problem is starting to occur. Then we've got that very top of the roller coaster or that mountain where sometimes it can get a little scary, that climax where the problem is very significant to our characters right now. Then it's starting to go down, our falling action. Those event or two events are where our characters are solving those problems and starting to notice how it can be fixed. And then it's all smooth out there at the end. You're at the ground with our resolution or how our problem was solved. So today for your assignment, you guys are going to be listening to our new story or biography of the week. And then you're going to fill out your own plot mountain. So you're going to be thinking of your exposition, so your characters and your setting, one or two events that's going to start noticing a problem for our character. That top where it's really starting to say, hey, this is the main issue, this is the problem. And then how our character is starting to solve it or that falling action. And then what is the final outcome.